Spring is beautiful, and for those of us, myself included, that have lived through all the snow we've had this winter, it is a welcome sight. But for millions of those of us living with allergies, it also means misery, sneezing, congestion, itchy, watery eyes, swollen eyes. But what if I told you that your spring allergies are doing more than just making you miserable? What if they're also quietly stressing your heart? Hi, everyone, and welcome back to our series on heart health. I am Dr. Kara Wada. I'm a quadruple board certified allergy, immunology, lifestyle medicine doc. I'm also someone who lives with autoimmune disease. And if you've been following along with this series, I want to thank you for being here. In week 1, we talked all about the silent cardiovascular risk that comes along with chronic inflammation, especially inflammation linked to autoimmune disease. In particular, Sjogren's, because that's the one that I live with. In week 2, we got very specific about the 7 key numbers that we should be tracking to get a complete picture of your heart health. And this week, we're taking what might seem to be a bit of a left turn, but I promise you it all connects. We're talking about the surprising and really important link between your seasonal allergies and your cardiovascular health, especially in the context of living with underlying autoimmune conditions or severe asthma. Now, as an allergist and immunologist, this is my world. I live and breathe this stuff every day, quite literally. And I can tell you that most people, and even many doctors, don't fully appreciate how interconnected these systems really are. Your immune system doesn't operate in isolation. What affects your nose and sinuses and your lungs doesn't just stay there. It infects your entire body, including your heart and your blood vessels. So today we're going to explore exactly how that works. We're going to talk about why allergy control isn't just about you feeling better in the spring. It's actually a crucial part of your long-term health strategy. Now, first, let's talk about what's actually happening when you have an allergic reaction, because it's easy to dismiss allergies as just an annoyance and an inconvenience. But from an immunological standpoint, it's a lot and it can be pretty serious. So when you're exposed to an allergen, let's say tree pollen or your little kitty cat, your immune system mistakenly identifies that harmless substance as a dangerous invader, and your body then launches a full defensive response. Your mast cells and your basophils, both types of immune system cells, release a cascade of chemicals. The most famous one is histamine, which is why we take antihistamines, but there are many others, including leukotrienes, prostaglandins, and various other cytokines. These are inflammatory mediators. Now, these chemicals often do their job locally, which is why your nose gets congested, your eyes get itchy, you start to sneeze. But here's what most people don't realize. These inflammatory chemicals don't just stay in your nose and your eyes. The rest of your body sees them to a point as well. Once they're in your bloodstream, these inflammatory mediators can contribute to the overall systemic inflammation throughout your entire body. They can affect blood vessel function, increase clotting tendency, and add to your overall inflammatory burden. For someone who doesn't have an underlying autoimmune condition, the seasonal spike in inflammation might not be a huge deal. Their body can handle it. But for those of us who also live with other chronic inflammatory diseases, especially autoimmune diseases like Sjogren's, we're already carrying a baseline level of chronic inflammation. We're already dealing with an overactive immune system. So when we add seasonal allergic inflammation or chronic, what we call perennial inflammation from our kitty cats, dogs, or dust mites, it's like adding more gasoline to a fire that's already burning. And that fire affects everything, including and especially pertinent our cardiovascular system. So now the inflammation from allergies is, something notable, right? Maybe concerning on its own, but it can get worse because allergies create what I like to call a triple threat. This triple threat affects your heart health through a bit of a domino effect. And let me walk you through how this compounds. The first domino, allergy symptoms disrupt sleep. When you have significant allergy symptoms, nasal congestion, postnasal drip, sinus pressure, coughing, these all directly interfere with your ability to get quality restorative sleep. It is really hard to sleep well when you can't breathe properly through your nose. You might find yourself breathing through your mouth, which can dry out your mouth even more which is a particular problem if you already have dry mouth because of something like Sjogren's disease. You might wake up frequently throughout the night because of coughing, that tickle in your throat, can't breathe, your asthma's flared up. You might develop worse sleep apnea, where your breathing actually stops repeatedly during sleep because of that obstruction. Now, the second domino, poor sleep drives fatigue, inflammation, and even pain. When you don't get adequate restorative sleep, several things happen. Now, first, obviously, you feel tired, exhausted. You wake up feeling never truly rested, and that fatigue compounds throughout the day and throughout the season. But beyond just feeling tired, poor sleep has measurable biological effects. Studies have shown that even a few nights of poor sleep cause significant increase in inflammatory markers in your blood, including your CRP, your interleukin-6, and TNF-alpha. Your body interprets sleep deprivation as a form of stress, and it responds by ramping up inflammation. Poor sleep also impairs your body's ability to regulate blood sugar, increases cortisol, which is a stress hormone, and that further drives inflammation and cardiovascular stress. Third domino, chronic stress on your cardiovascular system. When you combine direct inflammatory effects of allergies with the inflammatory effects of poor sleep, the physical stress of chronic fatigue, your cardiovascular system pays the price. Your blood pressure may increase. Your blood vessels may become stiffer and less able to relax properly. We call this endothelial dysfunction. Your blood may become slightly more prone to clotting. Your heart rate variability, that number we talked about last week, decreases, indicating that your body is stuck in a more stressed state. All of these changes, especially when they happen season after season, year after year, they add up. They contribute to long-term cardiovascular risk. Now, here's where things get really important for those of us living with autoimmune disease. If you already live with something like rheumatoid arthritis, lupus, or Sjogren's, you're already dealing with baseline fatigue. You're already managing chronic inflammation. You're already at an increased cardiovascular risk compared to the general population. If you missed this, we talked about it week 1. When you add uncontrolled seasonal allergies on top of that, it becomes a perfect storm. It's taking all of these risk factors, turning up the volume or amplifying them. It's like pouring fuel on a fire that's already burning. And this is why I'm so passionate about helping people understand that allergy control is not just about comfort, although that's very nice. It's also a wider spread issue. It's in part helping protect your heart. So let's reframe how we think about allergy management. I want you to shift your mindset from, I need to deal with my allergies so I can get through the spring, to I need to control my allergies as a part of my long-term health strategy. For those of us with autoimmune disease, managing allergies is managing inflammation. It's reducing one of the major seasonal burdens on your immune system and your cardiovascular system. And there are 2 approaches to allergy management: reactive and proactive. I often use both in my practice. The reactive approach is what most people will do. They'll wait until symptoms hit. They'll start taking medications to suppress those symptoms. And what you end up seeing is you're constantly playing catch up, trying to feel less miserable once you're already in the thick of it. Now, the proactive approach is what I advocate for, especially for those of us living with other inflammatory conditions like autoimmune disease. And this means getting ahead of the inflammation before it starts. It means starting medications before pollen season kicks in to high gear. Or if you know that you're visiting someplace, maybe with a cat and you have a cat allergy, taking your meds beforehand. It means addressing the root causes of your allergic response through immunotherapy, which we'll talk about next week. And it means thinking strategically about how to minimize your exposure and your body's reaction. The proactive approach isn't just about feeling better in the moment, though you absolutely will feel better. It's about preventing the cascade of inflammation, preventing the sleep disruption, and the cardiovascular stress season after season and year after year. As an immunologist, I see this connection so clearly every single day in my practice. The immune system doesn't work in silos. We can't treat allergies over here and autoimmune disease over there and cardiovascular health in a third box. They're all intimately connected. The part of your immune system that's overreacting to pollen, or your allergic or type 2 immune response, is still a part of the same immune system that's attacking your own tissues in Sjogren's, which is usually a type 1 response. They share some inflammatory pathways. They influence each other. They affect your body, your entire body, including your heart and your blood vessels. And this is why when I'm working with a patient who has Sjogren's or rheumatoid arthritis or lupus, right, and significant allergies, I'm not just thinking about making their spring or their holiday travel to family with pets more comfortable. I'm thinking about their long-term risks, their cardiovascular risks 10, 20, 30 years down the road. I'm thinking about breaking that cycle of chronic inflammation before it has decades to damage the system. This is also why I'm such a big advocate for precision immunotherapy approaches, which we're going to talk about in detail next week. Because when we can actually retrain the immune system to stop overreacting to allergens, we're not just treating symptoms. We're addressing one of the main root causes of that inflammation. So what can you do right now as we are heading into spring? Step 1, take your allergy history seriously. If you have significant seasonal allergies and you also have autoimmune disease, recognize that it isn't just an inconvenience. It's a health issue that deserves proper medical attention and management. Step 2, start your allergy medications early. Don't wait until you're already miserable. If you know that tree pollen typically hits in March in your area, start your nasal spray and your other allergy medications that you've worked with, your healthcare team, right? Start those early. Those allergy nose sprays, especially things like fluticasone or the nasal corticosteroid sprays, they take a good 2 to 4 weeks to reach their full effect. Getting ahead of inflammation is truly key. Step 3, track your sleep. Use a journal, a wearable device to monitor how your sleep quality changes during your allergy season. If you notice a significant disruption, that's something to talk about with your doctor. Step 4, consider long-term solutions. If you're dealing with the same cycle year after year, it might be time to explore immunotherapy. Allergy shots, drops, or intralymphatic immunotherapy. These approaches actually retrain your immune system rather than just suppressing symptoms every spring. And step 5, talk to your rheumatologist. Let them know about your seasonal allergies. Ask if they've noticed any patterns in your inflammatory markers or your disease activity during allergy season. This may help them better see the full picture of your health as well. This spring, I want you to think differently about your allergies. Yes, they are annoying. And yes, they make you feel absolutely miserable. Those of us living with autoimmune disease, they're also a significant source of systemic inflammation that can impact our long-term health, especially our cardiovascular health. Taking control of allergies is taking control of your health. It's not a separate issue, right? All of these things are deeply interconnected. Next week, we're going to deep dive into treatment options. Specifically, we're going to talk about the difference between traditional allergy shots, sublingual immunotherapy drops, and what I call precision allergy shots like intralymphatic immunotherapy. We'll discuss who's a good candidate for these more targeted approaches, how they actually work to retrain your immune system, and if you're someone who's tired of the yearly allergy battle and ready to explore a long-term solution, you're not going to want to miss this next video. If you can't wait until next week and you're ready to take action now, I'm offering a limited number of spring allergy strategy calls. These are one-on-one consultations where we can discuss your specific situation, your allergy history, your other underlying immune conditions, and whether a targeted approach like precision allergy shots makes sense for you. These calls will fill up quickly because we're trying to get people treated before the happy pollen season hits. If you're interested, click the link in the description below to apply for a call. We'll review your information, see if you're a good fit to this approach. As always, please subscribe if you haven't already. Hit that bell icon so you're notified when next week's video drops. Give this video a thumbs up if you found it helpful and drop a comment below. I'd love to hear, do you deal with seasonal allergies on top of your autoimmune disease? Have you noticed any connection between your allergy symptoms and your overall inflammation or fatigue? I want to hear in the comments. Thanks so much for being here. I'm Dr. Kara Wada, and I can't wait to see you next week.